Alright, and the recording has begun! Welcome, everyone! We are on session 37, and the options have greatly been whittled down for adventuring. But before we get to tonight's adventure, let's have a retelling of the previous adventure.
Well, it started off with us, several of the kids going out in the middle of the night following Miss Mabel to find out what she was doing. And being the super chameleon that Glup is, he hid in the room where it happened and got to watch some gambling where it looks like Miss Mabel was paying off her debt. And then she went off in to do her own thing. And then later on, we went and we looked around and we found more information about it. And one of the big things that he helped try to find out more information from the forger master in the Thieves Guild. That's what he did that time. He's a bit tired more than usual, with a couple of other people.
Do you remember what you learned from the Forge Master? Or I shouldn't say forgery master.
That Miss Mabel was paying off a debt for which we later found out was involving forging a book.
Yes. Go ahead and take a character point for Glup. Good job. Who's next?
So Trumpy was critical in understanding and decrypting the book that had the details about Miss Maple's debts and the racket that they've got going for teaching people how to play the trading game.
Very critical. Without Trumpy, I mean, that was literally math that Trumpy was pulling off right there. Just straight up, like, doing crypto analysis on encrypted documents. Well done. Do you recall what cool stuff was in the documents?
From what I recall, I was able to isolate several individuals from the book, and was able to. I mean, that's how we figured out who Miss Mabel was and some of the other characters that are involved in this gambling scheme.
Yeah,
that's about as far as my memory takes me.
Fundamentally, Miss Mabel gave the final answer, but that was you guys put all the pieces together in front of her for her to admit to it. So that was very good. Character point for Trumpy. Who's next? Kristen, would you like to
go? Yeah. So Zara, she went to a barbecue joint to talk to the gnome, which I'm not sure if we ever got their name, but
I don't know if you did, but for reference, it's Mr. Shine.
All right, noted. Yeah, so she went there. The intent was to kind of knowing that the gnome was one of the people that was with Miss Mabel gambling that night, to kind of just get as much information out of him as possible. We were able to get a little bit of information. Basically that like they're trying to like start their own gambling enterprise, and Miss Mabel seems to know a lot about the game, so they're trying to learn from her whatever they can. So I traded Miss Mabel's location for a valuable coin, which then Zara promptly went and gambled away and lost at the gambling establishment. And yeah, and then Zara convinced Miss Mabel to tell us why the bookmaker and the forger owed her money.
I would say it was a team effort, but yeah. definitely, you had successes on the board there.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely was a team effort. And I think that's about it. Yeah, we also like found out what the book was. She was making a book about let's see, basically a fake book about trolls.
Exactly right.
And I think that was everything.
Very good. Well, a character point. Well deserved. Who would like to go next?
I can go. I think my information was earlier based on everything else, but Mina went to see Miller Bergson and basically just had a pleasant day compared to everybody else, I think. And just got to enjoy playing, like learning how to play the game that they had all talked about, or they had all done the night before. And learned a bunch of not necessarily heavily useful information, but like based on what everybody else learned. But I think it was the early information, like how he pretty much went there to have fun. Sorry, cats fighting. And very little information, but the fact that he was aware that there was some debt going on. But definitely thought it was weird since they knew she'd win. But we found more information about that later, obviously. But I was able to learn the game and bring it back and teach it.
And very importantly, you found out that the gambling situation was not sinister in any way. That was a big clue.
Yes, it wasn't a bad. Nothing was bad. Nothing about it was.
Right, which meant you could scratch that off your list of things to look into and move on to the more important things. Yeah. Very good. A character point. Well deserved. I think there's only 2 left. Vivian, would you like to go?
dinner.
Yeah, go ahead.
I paid for dinner. That was mostly my objective. I also gave them their book back. Taught them to be more suspicious of children, especially when the children are like right there having a conversation and they don't notice. They have bad guards, basically, is what my character learned.
The day
For
shift
a
definitely
casino-
needs some work done there.
Yeah, for a casino, their security is atrocious.
That might be useful information for you to take to the Pinecone brothers. Anyway, yes, a character point earned for paying for dinner, for sure.
I think I'm the last one to
You
go.
are the last one.
Araxi was the reason that conversation happened. And basically Araxi went, ate a bunch of fish sticks, walked into a vault, and just struck up a conversation with Glump, and yet didn't get caught somehow.
Most incompetent guard ever.
Walked out there with the book and brought it back to Trompy. And yeah, that's about, as far as I can remember, Arax's contribution.
Yeah, that about sums it up. That's very good. A character point earned. And in the end, what you learned was that the reason Miss Maybell has been going out is she has been paying off debts for a book that she had forged to have some false information in it, but otherwise look like the genuine article. And you got that surprisingly out of Miss Maybell, who must have just been overwhelmed by the joy of meeting Pelladia the day before. That's my explanation for why she only rolled 2 successes on 14 dice. Or 3 successes, but yeah. Alright, so... Well, there's basically 2 options for adventuring for today. As the kids wake up. Really, the only mysteries left are figuring out what's really going on with the Blade Breakers. Your previous investigations of them had shown that they were definitely doing something illegal, and they were laundering money that they were getting from that illegal thing. You were not able to narrow down exactly what they were doing. It's possible that it may have involved some murders, but you were also investigating the Pinecone brothers at the same time. Both of them had some shady dealings going on and a significant rivalry between them. And yeah, it is possible that one or both sides may have committed murder to members of the other. But you don't know the core of what their business is. They seem to just be a protection racket, but that doesn't necessarily add up for all of the weapons dealings that they've been doing with the Nantar trading company. And the fact that those weapons have shown up in areas, swampy areas to the north of Celebre in recent years has been an interesting clue into all of that. Also, you could do more research. In researching the Blade Breakers, one avenue of pursuit would be that house that you robbed that had the really famous smith. The woman who was trying to get a new crafting guild started now that the mining cooperative has collapsed. It seemed like she was on the up and up, but for some reason her home and her accounts were being used for money laundering, and how she got involved in that was never made clear. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to investigate the Blade Breakers at all, because there is a man sitting in prison. In the Crimson Guard barracks, they are currently keeping a prisoner awaiting trial for a very big and complex set of crimes, which includes trying to murder all of you. As this person was a part of the Apthian Empty Prince cult that was trying to attack the orphanage when you guys first arrived. And you learned from the mercenary company that's currently reforming themselves to be nice people up in the northern forest that the Blade Breakers had paid that mercenary company to transport alchemical ingredients for some kind of potion thing to them on their way south to start their scam against Orphan. So there's great interconnection there, and that person might be worth investigating, although I have given you sort of the little secret meta knowledge that if you do that investigation, it will start a chain of events that will result in the conclusion of the story. So, yeah, it's up to you.
Well, we did promise that we would investigate the whole Nantar thing.
You'd actually you promised to investigate Nantar, yeah. And right now, the clues from your Nantar investigation point to the Blade Breakers.
Yeah. It seems like both quests seem to be, like, intermingled a lot.
I feel like we have to close that thread with the Blade Breakers, so I vote for that.
Yeah, and we'll be able to find out exactly what they were potentially sending to this person. So maybe use that on edge when we talk to him.
Awesome. So, which characters will be coming out for this adventure? unlike a lot of the organizations that you guys have investigated, the Blade Breakers are explicitly not peaceful. You've investigated, dock workers, and you've investigated a trading company. These guys are a criminal enterprise. They do protection rackets. It looks like they are involved in violence at illegal levels. So you might want a little bit of security on this one, depending on how deep in you plan to go. Alternatively, you also might consider stealth as a way to avoid situations. I know you definitely have some high stealth rollers there. But as always, a good investigator will go a long way when you're doing what is literally an investigation. So discuss among yourselves, figure out what kind of a team you want to bring.
This does sound like it could be a job for the triplets.
Yeah, I was thinking of bringing Elros. Currently unlocked a higher form of magic for his meta magic, for his it's called for improvisation.
Sounds good. A magic user can always be a very flexible and adaptable member of a team.
Quick question before we start. We talked a while ago about Wappy adding multiple wild shapes. Can I just do that via meditation at this point?
Yeah. If you
All right.
If you got the character points to spend, 100%. What's going to be the new wild shape?
Do you want me to hold off on revealing it until I wild shape into it?
Ooh. Okay. Make it a surprise. Have you already spent the character points on it, or is this one you're going to be like doing a 3-buy to activate?
And yeah, I think triplets make sense for this.
All right, I will be bringing Francis then if Jackie wants to bring
We do
Trumpy.
Trumpy again. That way we get our triplet powers.
Wampy, Trumpy, and Francis. All right. Together, all three together. It's been a while. This is awesome.
The RIPD.
Oh, I forgot to ask. Did Bax need to make any rolls for school?
I suppose, but given that we're getting pretty close to the end here, I'm gonna pass because I don't feel like rolling. I'm not sure how much more I can gain out of being in the academy at the moment.
Your mic went super soft there. But Kristen, I very much appreciate that gift.
Triplet power.
Hell yeah. Ed, which of your characters would you like to bring?
I don't know. Where will we be spending most of our time?
Great question. That depends on how you guys want to approach the problem. the Blade Breakers exist as a organization. You could go confront them. You could try to sneak in, get information directly from them. But they also have their sort of branches that they deal with as well. The people that they've coerced into working for them through various fashions. One of which is that Smith lady at that mansion. Another of which is the Nantar Trade Organization.
I'll send Reggie out. He seems like he's the most appropriate for this sort of situation.
Okay. Also, a quick reminder to everyone, don't forget that those of your characters who were in school the previous day also got an experience point for being in school. Just want to make sure nobody forgets to add that. Those characters, even though they're not the ones adventuring, should still be seeing some progression and advancement. Troy, you've chosen to bring out Crystalzar, I see. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring him out, and then also, I don't know if we need it, but if anybody, like, if Kofrik has the what's it called? The crystal ball recorder. So if we want, I don't know if we want to use that anymore. It's already got testimony on it, but I don't know if we can record more onto it, kind of thing.
You can. We've established as canon that the crystal ball can hold more than one recording at a time.
So if someone wants to record that out before we go and do our things, it would make sense for someone else to have it.
It will also make sense for somebody to have probably the truth serum, unless you want to save that for investigating the shadow cultist.
Yeah, I was thinking of us saving it for the cultist.
Okay.
So someone else was or other people were around for the crystal bar recorder. So whoever was there, I think it would make sense for that. I think it was a couple of the triplets. So it makes sense for them to probably have it.
Whoppy got the original one, so.
Okay, that means you know how to handle it, so Kofrik gives it to you.
All right, so we've got Wompy, Trompy, Francis, Crystalzar, Reggie, and Elros. This is a good team. All right.
If I wanted to, for the characters that were in school last time, I don't know if I'll need to take an action right now for some of these things, but I was hoping to have Henri and Francis learn a spell.
Okay. They don't need to make any rolls for that. As long as they are enrolled in a class that teaches that spell, then no problem. You can just mark that they have added that spell to one of their books.
Cool. Yeah, and it would be like the private tutors.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I do. It looks like for Anui, then there's a 3 dice tax to composure for spell learn.
There is, yes, because you're learning it from Anui, which means the information is being written into your brain. It's not being told to you with normal words. It hurts to learn.
Cool. Yeah. Well, he will take the hit. Great. Okay, cool. And then same goes for the necromancer, where I don't need to roll or anything for
Right.
learning
Don't
spells.
need to roll, and the necromancer doesn't need to tax anything. You're just learning. Yeah.
Cool. All right then.
Awesome. All right. Well, with the party thus decided, where is it you'd like to go? Looking at the party list, it seems like you guys are not super strong on stealth, but you might be able to make up for that with magic. You might be able to use magical stealth to completely negate the fact that you don't have a Glup or an Araxi with you at the moment.
Yeah, I'm good at stealth. I've improvised some stealth spells before.
What you do have is you have a powerful orator, an investigative mind that can solve complex problems, and a slew of magic users.
I was wondering, since one of my connections is the sheriff, if we wanted to bring the sheriff along, since this is going to be actually some dangerous criminals, and he's dealt with dangerous criminals before.
It is possible. You do think, though, that he may draw unwanted attention. The choice is yours. If you tell the sheriff that you're going to go confront some criminals, he's definitely going to come with you. But that may make your approach less subtle.
Yeah, I'll just bring it to the group.
I think it's best to keep the sheriff in our back pocket right now. As if we do confront them, we bring the sheriff, but we don't have to confront them immediately.
And you don't have to go directly to the Blade Breakers either. There are, like I said, there's the side businesses that they have. You could investigate one of those much more discreetly. Smith Lady and Trade Company are two opportunities. You've already pretty much investigated the Trade Company. You know what's going on there, but it's been a few days. That situation may have changed a bit. The Smith Lady, on the other hand, you never actually left that one room that her safe was in. You came in through the window, robbed her safe, and never checked out any of the rest of her place. So all you really know about is that for some reason the Blade Breakers were using her to launder money.
Yeah. All right, let's decide. Do you want to go to Smith? The Smith route? Potentially, if they're still laundering money through it to get there, might be able to put a magical tracker on one of the bills, wherever, and track it that way.
Also, last time you were there, Reggie presented himself as a representative of the Rights and Properties Guild, and she completely bought it. So that still stands. Reggie's position in her eyes as a representative of Rights and Properties Guild is still valid. I think Reggie was knocking on the front door to draw her away from that room to give you guys some cover back then.
Yeah, then the two frog people grabbed the dwarf, I think, and jumped through the window, scaring her.
Okay. In any case, you have an inn. You could actually just front door that situation if you wanted to.
This does feel like a situation that we can front door because we have the triplets can pass off as investigators working with the Rights and Properties Guild as sort of an outsourced contract deal, and everything will look super legitimate.
Aside from the fact that you're children, but like, yeah, the paperwork looks.
Well, we're
100%
children, but
yeah.
we're also children who just played a role in a major trial that was major news in the city.
And you, I mean, you have a letter basically authorizing you to investigate from the Crimson Guard. Now, I don't know if you want to play that card. That might throw up some red flags to your target.
No, we
Rights and
we're
properties, on the other hand, they're just greedy. So
Yeah.
they're not looking for justice. They're just looking to make sure they get paid.
Do I need to hide my Crimson Guard colors?
It might not be a terrible idea to be in civilian clothes for this one.
Unless they ask if you're a Crimson Guard member, then you have to tell them that you're a Crimson Guard member. You know, that's the rules.
No, I don't think that's how it works. I'm in too many clubs, so I can lie and also be not lying. No, I'm an SAU student.
As we learned when you interviewed the ghost that you lied to and said that Nest was his daughter, you're allowed to lie. Like, lying in the course of an investigation, totally allowed. Not a problem.
I think it makes most sense for us to be there to investigate something that's not implication, that we're just checking numbers sort of thing. And hopefully get access to what we're looking for without tipping them off immediately.
Yeah. Also surprised, I'm not sure if it's not tipped off because I know the at least the Thieves Guild knows something's going on with it.
The Thieves Guild does know, and yeah, they've already done their thing.
Collecting back taxes. But yeah, I mean, even if if we know the Thieves Guild's already done their thing, we could just be the Rights and Properties Guild saying it was an unusual situation, so we've got to look at it.
Cool.
And then play up the fact that we're children to be like...
Are all of you going to go with front door, or is the front door group going to secondarily act as a distraction for another group that approaches this building differently?
Francis is going wherever the other triplets are going.
And if so, what are we attempting to look for if everyone else is distracting?
I think probably what you most want to know is what got this person into a situation where they accepted a deal to launder money for the Blade Breakers. Obviously, she got paid, right? Like, the part of the laundering process involved her not paying her taxes, but she had to meet them somewhere, right? Like, there had to be some connection, some way that she was related to them. So what you're looking for may not necessarily be in the financial records, but there's a whole mansion there to explore.
Yeah. There might be a lot of evidence in their pantry.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not at all sneaky, but I figure Elros and Crystallar can not be part of the main group.
I can do the magics, and I can take, if I do some kind of visibility on myself, I just have two people hold my hands, and they would also become invisible. Because you're technically me when you're holding my hand.
That's one way to do it. Also, I think, does Francis know how to animate, like, little skeleton rats to be your eyes and ears?
Yes, if he's successful, he can try and do that.
Options abound.
Wampi also could probably create a very good distraction if we need one.
Yeah, fireball is always a great distraction.
Wampi can become a frog at will. You guys have an incredibly diverse toolkit here.
Wampi can become a frog and something else that I was going to use at will. But yeah, I think the thing that's most important is getting Trompy to documents, to whatever the most important documents are to look at. How we get Trompy there is kind of an open question. Because we can't... Could we sneak in? We know the route.
You guys are aware of a window that is intentionally left unlocked so that the Thieves Guild can have easy access to their safe when it's tax time. So there is that. Like, you know that window's going to be unlocked. You'll know you'll be able to get in. I don't think any of you have Glup and Araxi's climbing abilities to get up to it, but that doesn't make it impossible. That just makes it a different kind of problem.
What we could do
We
is
have
we could just because there's its character over that it can go in there. And the people invisible. If people go invisible, they can just walk through the front door as well. Leave the front door open for like a couple of moments later so they can get it through.
All right, so let's break it down into who's going in the front door, who's going to the windows, and it is a perfectly reasonable option for everyone to go to the same place if you want to.
Chompy will go with their siblings.
I think the triplets could make a...
I'd cut off after make it.
would make a good window team,
Okay.
I think.
Definitely
Agreed.
lightweight. So Wompy Trompy Francis are on the window.
Do rights and property members ever have like bodyguard-like personnel?
Yes.
Okay, then that's what I think Chris Lazar is doing.
I just realized Francis had purchased something from that special store or whatever. I put in my notes sticky sticker. I can't remember exactly what that does, but can I like put that on my shoes or something, and then I can like climb the wall or?
Yes, if you put it on your shoes, it casts a magical spell that gives you spider climb for like an hour.
Oh hell yeah! Cool. So just so you guys know, I do have that.
That will make getting up to the window effortless. For you, anyway. You could probably carry somebody. Or lower a rope or something.
Yeah. Let's bring a rope.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who has the magic rope.
I feel like the group of children just have like a spot where they keep all their stuff.
I think Trompy has the magic rope, unless we use the magic rope for something sense.
We
I
did something with it.
don't have it in my inventory because we used it for the heist, but I don't know what happened.
You
to
used
that.
the magic rope to take a boulder up to the moon.
Oh, so whoever's on the moon team, somebody brought back the magic rope.
Yes.
We did not offer the magic rope to the Moon King.
No, you just used it to carry the rock there.
Yeah, so I guess it's reasonable that we still have that. Which actually, that's great because then you can just, since it makes things weightless, you just tie it around both of you, and then I'll just whip you up to the roof.
Reggie, are you going to the front door?
I mean, I'm not exactly the kind of person. But, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go to the front door.
All right, so Reggie and Crystal are going to the front door. Elros, where are you headed?
I'm not a sneaky backdoor person.
I guess I'm also going to go to the front door as well.
All right. Presumably, timing your entrances so that the owner of the home will be focused on the front door instead of the window. And so you knock, and the owner answers. While this is happening, in the back there, you guys are... So, if I understand this right, Francis, you're going to use the sticky boots to climb up with the rope, and then because the rope makes people weightless, you're going to pull them up one by one. Is that right?
That's the plan.
No rolls required. Magic takes care of it. You guys are up in the room. At the front door, Reggie, the owner of the house, is basically in smithing gear. Hasn't even bothered to put on a nice dress like she did last time. She's got her leather smock on. Tongs are still in one of her hands. She opens the door and goes, "What is it?"
Hello. I see that you're smithing stuff.
She narrows her eyes and is like, "Oh, I recognize you. You're one of those kids who were here right before I got audited." She's going to make a quick investigation check to see if she figures out if there's anything going on. She does not. All right, well, welcome back. All my bookkeeping's up to date. Is there anything I can help you with?
I mean, I'm not here to check any books. What? I feel like I need to stall. I feel like my role is to stall.
Pretty much. You do know that this woman has been trying to establish a new guild for craftsmen to fill the role left by the mining cooperative when they evacuated. So that could be an angle you could take.
Smithing stuff. That's interesting. I didn't realize that you were an artisan.
Awesome. Make a little performance check there.
Okay. I don't know how good Reggie is. I'm about to find out.
I'm presuming that the entire point of your conversation is not to convince her of anything, it's just to take up her time, right? Or is there a direction you're trying to go with it?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, I'm trying to go in the direction of convincing her that, yeah, well, I mean, at the moment, I'm just making small talk, but in the back of my head, as Reggie, I'm just kind of like, this may be a business opportunity.
Fair enough. Your performance check, the way I was going to do that was the number of successes was going to be the amount of time that the upstairs crew has to explore.
Okay, well,
but yeah, if you want to lessen their time and just go in, you could try starting to make persuasion checks on getting her involved in some kind of a business scheme with you.
Yeah, that's probably a better tack.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So I say, may I come in? I mean, I know a thing or two about the business of metallurgy.
Oh, well, if you're here to talk shop, I'm happy to invite you in. I apologize for my curtness earlier. The audit has me a bit on edge. It's cost me a fair amount of money. And that's money that could have gone towards establishing a new guild that would have benefited all of the craftsmen here in the city.
Reggie shrugs and says, "Taxes or theft." It's not hyperbole or idiom or anything. That's just the truth.
They are literally called the Thieves Guild. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also one of the reasons why I'm here as well. Is because I after hearing about this, I have a certain gift that might be interesting to boost your craft and stuff, because I'm already getting a patent on it. But I have a certain tangle in my hands that helps me craft better, and I might be able to figure ways of passing it on to others to be able to increase the quality and magicness of items that might give you an upper hand in the market.
Says that is interesting. I want to be very careful that I don't step on the toes of the Applied Thaumaturgy Guild, as they're currently the newest guild in the city, and since I'm endeavoring to become the newest guild in the city, I want to stay on good terms with them and not sort of cross into their territory. But if you can produce items that will help my crafters do better, then there may be something worth talking about there. That's a good plan. Here, come into my drawing room, and we'll have some tea. She calls to a maid that goes and puts a kettle on. The maid is giving her side eye as she, in her filthy, like soot-covered outfit, sits down on the nice, perfectly clean cushions of the couch. So this should be fairly quiet here. My family is out in the markets today. So yeah, what would you like to discuss? Meanwhile, upstairs, you can hear downstairs that Reggie is not holding the target at the door. They're inside the building, so you guys are going to need to be a little bit quiet about what you do. You're currently in the room with the safe, and from what you understand from the stories you were told by Araxi, there's a board game that, if you play the right moves, opens a secret compartment with financial details up here. All of this information is pretty much known to you guys already. You already know what you're going to find if you open any of these things up. It's the rest of the house that's currently unexplored. What would you like to do?
I think there is an argument for recording what's in that safe.
Okay.
Assuming that wouldn't just take too long to just open up, run the crystal ball across it, and then put it back.
We'll find out who's going to be opening it. And how. Anyone with a decent crime skill might be able to just safe crack it.
Troppy probably could just figure out the board game.
Yeah, that's very likely. And Wampy might be able to just decide that the safe is already open, depending on magical.
I might save that one for later. I might save that move for later.
Trompy, do you want to try to play the game?
Sure. What would that just be scholarship?
Cunning plus scholarship, absolutely.
I will use my erudite potential.
We also have our We Stick Together bonus.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What does that grant me?
The ability to use your airtight potential.
But you already have that ability, so yeah. Okay, it is a little bit tricky, but you get it. Fortunately, you'd already heard from Araxi and the other group, like, and was it Andre who was up here? You heard how they all kind of solved this before, so you had some idea of what to do ahead of time, and you get it open. Um, you manage to spread out the documents, get a quick crystal ball scan of them, and pack them back up again. Meanwhile, downstairs, Reggie, what's your pitch?
So, well, the difficult part of any kind of metallurgy guild, obviously, is going to be the metal. Metal's in limited supply, particularly in this region, right? I mean, the cooperative had a significant presence in Barren and the mountains and the hills in the north. If you ask me, they spread themselves a bit too thin. They're kind of getting their hands into too many pies, and that's kind of what got them into trouble. You know,
Yeah, they didn't. For a while, they were just doing sort of vertical expansion, right? It's like, okay, we own the mines. Let's also own the smelters, and then let's own the smiths, and then let's own the weapons dealers, and kind of the vertical. And then they started going horizontal, and that I think that horizontal expansion really collapsed their organizational structure. She comments.
Yep. My family was were ranking members in the guild before the long night. He says.
Oh, my dear, I'm so sorry.
I shrug and say, "It is what it is."
Well, I did have an idea, although it would definitely take some work. But there was a time when the Petrish were setting up rail lines to deliver raw ore here to the city. And bigotry and anti-Petrish sentiment caused some problems here. But I think a lot of that has calmed down to the point where it might be worth re-entering negotiations with them. That whole area of the city is basically like deserted buildings and a slum. Like we could revitalize that entire area just by getting raw ore coming in to be smelted.
Reggie says, "Well, that's really kind of the business you need to get into. So, especially in a budding guild, it's good to pick one thing and do it well. That's how the elves did it, or so I heard."
So it is a thing now. Obviously, my talents are primarily in smithing the finished, the refined ore into product. But I'm not really in this for my talents. I'm in this more on a political level. So I can find people who are good smelters, and that would definitely kind of help things. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the vertical expansion, with being part of the whole line of like minerals to smelting, smelting to crafted goods. I think as long as we don't try to reach outside of the city and stay really focused, this could be a very beneficial project.
Reggie says, "Correct. But if you want your business to be stable and successful, start like the mining cooperative did. They had a good start. They didn't make swords or nails or hammers or axes. They made steel. You immediately have a workforce if you just make good steel."
She presents her counter argument, but then you're going to roll to see if you convince her. Her position is that the entire reason she's doing this is out of a political motivation to want to make things better for the craftspeople here in the city that were kind of abandoned by the cooperative. And most of those, because of the way the cooperative moved things out to Barren, most of the people here in the city that were part of mining cooperative were finished goods crafters. There are not a lot of smelters here that need work and that need organization, need the benefits of a guild. But you may convince her otherwise, so go ahead and make your persuasion check.
I get pips for my Gaston costume.
Yes, you do.
What's that worth?
I don't remember. Is it on your character sheet?
I didn't write down any tips for the. I guess I have my signet rings key through.
Okay.
That'll do. Okay.
Your argument is very persuasive and has her thinking, which does manage to stall her for a bit as she considers how easy it'll be to convince a lot of these swords makers and armor makers to go back to just being smelters.
He like Reggie shrugs and just says, "Look, a blacksmith doesn't get paid in gold. They get paid in iron and steel. If they don't have iron and steel, they can't make money. If you're going to have a bunch of people on your payroll, you need to make sure that you can pay them. If you have a bunch of smiths on your payroll and you have no materials for them to make money with, you don't have the ability to pay them."
These are good points. Meanwhile, upstairs, so you've now got the photographs of the documents. Do you want to do anything to the safe, or do you want to start exploring the rest of the house?
I suppose if we're done in this room, we can start exploring elsewhere.
Awesome. Everybody make investigation checks. This would be investigation plus perception, as you're looking to see if you can figure out which rooms will have anything worthwhile.
What is this house made of?
A lot of brickwork, some wood, like the floors are really nice hardwood floors. The outside is primarily brickwork, but inside you can see there a lot of like really beautiful, intricately carved wooden decorative like arches for doorways and things.
Can I add my druidic potential by basically feeling through the floor to see like what rooms get walked through a bunch? The ones I walk through all the time definitely won't have it, but the ones that are walked through regularly might.
Okay, you get kind of a heat map of what's going on. Sure.
How are we investigating? We're like just staying in this room, but we're...
I would presume you are leaving the room to look about.
Got it.
Yeah.
Is there any way that I could argue that since Francis has the sticky shoes, that he's using his agility instead of perception and kind of taking the high ground, I guess?
Yeah. If Francis, instead of going out into the hallway to check out the rooms, just goes back out the window and walks along the side of the house, because currently gravity is irrelevant with those sticky shoes, then yeah, you can just peek into each window until you find a window that's something you like.
Cool. Ooh.
You make a circle around the house and come back, and you're like, the windows are made of glass.
Just a bunch of rooms.
It's a bunch of rooms. There's beds in the bedrooms.
I only got a single
Wait,
success.
something suspicious. This isn't a bedroom, but it has a bed in it. Oh, no, wait. If there's a bed in it, that means it's a bedroom. Well, it looks like Wampy got the best result, but that is sort of a heat map of foot traffic. Lots of feet run around this place, and there isn't like abandoned rooms and like heavily used rooms. All the rooms see a fair amount of use. Like all the bedrooms are in use, either by staff that live here in the house or by the family that lives here. If this woman has a husband and children, there actually kind of what's interesting is that not where there is traffic, but where there isn't, or rather where there's just one person's worth of traffic. Because the whole house has multiple people's worth of traffic, except for the wooden stairs that lead from the ground floor into the basement. That seems to be only used by one person.
It's probably the forge.
That would make sense, especially based on the chimney arrangement outside.
Well, that also makes the forge a private area,
Very private. Her
which
family
means that's
wouldn't
where you might
intrude.
hide something. What's the foot traffic like into the room that we're in? Because that's obviously the safe in the thing. Just
Like
curious.
3 or 4 people's worth of traffic compared to
Alright.
other places. You expect, obviously, the maids come here to clean, and then a couple members of the family come here for financial reasons.
All right. I think the forge is probably the best bet then.
Alrighty. Now you're going to need a plan to get through the ground floor without alerting anybody. Meanwhile, on the ground floor, while Reggie's having his conversation, Chris Lazar, is there anything you wanted to do?
What's around us? This is a drawing room, right?
Yes. So, chairs, nice tables, a mirror, some lovely paintings. There are candles here for when it's dark, but it's currently not. It is currently midday. There's bright sunshine coming in through a window. As it is a drawing room, the curtains are drawn.
Is that the reason for that name?
I have no idea, but it totally makes sense, doesn't it?
I mean, you had me. If that's... There's. I mean, the only thing I can think is I'm not necessarily civilized. So if I walk around and just kind of like touch things and kind of like look at like you said there's paintings, right?
There
They're
are,
like hanging
yeah.
on the walls. Like, are they hanging in a way that I can like set them askew?
Sure.
So I'm just gonna kind of look at them and peruse and keep looking back to Reggie, just kind of like that's me keeping my eye. But also like I'm surveilling the room, but I'm gonna kind of set everything off a little kilter. So it needs to be attended to at some point.
Give me a quick performance check to see if you can beat the maid's passive perception.
Oh, I'm gonna fail this. What goes with performance?
Well, empathy would probably be the best one, as you're trying to fit their preconceptions of what you are.
Okay, that's fair.
I would not be opposed to cunning. I could see arguments for that.
It is like my description at least was it felt more cunning.
And
'Cause
you're definitely being deceptive, which is very much a cunning kind of thing. All right, I'll let you go cunning. That's good. Okay. As far as you know, the maid hasn't noticed. One thing you can be certain of is that none of them know that you have magical abilities. They all think you're just a brute gutter child, basically, that's been hired to punch people if this other more studious child is endangered. And Elros, hearing this conversation about smelting, did you want to contribute anything to it? Or did you want to do anything else?
I can't think here. So no, the thing I was offering before was like my point of view of like how about crafting and stuff, I'm more interconnected with the material and stuff when I craft. I guess I'm just currently just observing like all the different schematics and stuff they have, and like see if I can like what I can like potentially show off to like try to like prove my point.
So the current schematic you have is a cup of tea in your hands. There are no schematics here. This is a conversation happening in a drawing room. You're not in a workshop.
Yeah. I guess after I finish having my tea or whatever, I'm going to just hold the cup for a second, and I'm going to sort of look like I'm going to be casting sort of like a fabricate spell. I'm going to be like and molding with my hands to create a sort of like a tall drinking glass instead, like so I can get some milk later.
Okay, you're going to essentially shapeshift the glass, the teacup into a milk glass.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Go ahead. Do you have a spell that does that, or is this going to be improvisation?
This is going to be improvisation with my
Awesome.
my staff with me as always.
Difficulty 1. This is basic, basic reshaping of raw material. Awesome. You reshape it. This immediately agitates the maid, who says, "That was part of a set, sir. Could you please return that to its original form?" Troy, the maid's suspicion of you has been completely redirected, and you are free to do whatever you want to do, as though you had actually passed that roll you failed so badly. Be glad you have teammates.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was a little distracted. I guess I'll just reshape it back into the elegant cup it was before.
Right on.
Now it's like it doesn't have any of the old scratches on anymore. It's perfectly reforged cup.
Troy, before you decide what it is you're going to do specifically, could you give me a perception? Yeah, just perception.
It's gonna go well.
Don't worry, you got this.
Hey, perfect. You spot the triplets trying to come down the stairs secretly. Do you want to do anything, magical or otherwise, to assist in them sneaking their way to the basement? As you spot them with the maid and the smith both distracted.
Um, let's see. The only thing magically capable I'm able to do, is try to cast light, and I don't think that's going to do anything in a. I guess it would do something in a dark room. Other
Doesn't
than
have to
that,
be
I'm.
magical. You could do something physical to maintain the distraction. Or you could investigate.
I mean, how big are these like paintings on the wall?
They vary in size. Some of them are like portraits of family members, which are like a couple feet by maybe a foot and a half. Um, but then there's also some really big like landscapes, and also some really tiny like little fits in the palm of your hand little paintings that looks like they're parts of sets. It looks like she collects these sets from specific artists. You imagine somewhere there's some artists that are just like, okay, I need grocery money for the week, so I'm gonna sketch something and then go to this lady and be like, I have another piece to the set, and she'll pay me, and then I'll go get food. The bigger stuff looks like it's much older. Like the really big like landscapes look like they've been there for generations. The family portraits definitely portray a much younger version of her in the few pictures she's in, and then the rest would be of her sons, her daughter, and her husband.
What would be? I'm trying to understand if just from a skill perspective, if picking up a large painting off the wall would be just purely a difficulty thing, or if it would be so easy that I'd have to like pretend it was difficult and then it becomes a different skill.
Small and medium-sized paintings are in no way difficult to lift up off the wall. The large paintings, they're not heavy, but they're of an awkward shape. They're very wide, which makes them prone to tilting and prone to tilting at weird angles as you're trying to lift them. So, yeah. If you pick a small or medium one, it's going to be easy. You'll have to roll to pretend that you're having trouble. If you pick a big one, it's going to be hard. You might have to make a roll to not damage it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep trying to sell the brute of it all, and I'm gonna try to like hoist one of the bigger ones off the wall to get a closer look, kind of thing. And I'm assuming this is in the opposite direction of the staircase, right? These paintings are off in a different area.
You can choose one that is off in a different direction. Yes.
Okay, that's the goal, is to pick one of the larger ones that's like draws the attention away, and I'm just taking a really large one off the wall.
Cool.
So it will be precarious.
You want to make a performance check so that it doesn't look like you're just trying to steal their paintings. You're gonna distract them either way. This is just checking to see how they react to it. And while you're making that roll, triplets. Coming down the stairs, you can see that Chris Lazar has noticed you and seems to be getting ready to do something to maintain a distraction. There's the smith and a maid who was serving tea and is now having an argument with Elros. If they turn around, they're probably going to spot you as you make your way across, unless you guys have anything kind of magical you want to do, just invisible yourself and make that all irrelevant.
They more have brain skills than practical skills, you know?
Well, we could probably improvise something druidic to at least move silently. Invisibility is not exactly druidic. I originally planned on having Wampy maybe do a distraction so the other ones could get by, but I think we could just stealth this. Because we all have plus... We're all halflings, so we all have pips for stealth as well.
Do we?
Cool.
Yeah, we have a +2 gift for sneaking around.
Lessons
Just
of the small.
Oh.
It's one of our mandatory ones.
What does that give it? That's just 2 pips, right? Okay. And then... Ooh.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's a different kind of
Awesome.
distraction.
You're gonna distract. You attempt to distract them, but then you distract them, and they in our direction.
No. Troy has just done what, as far as they can tell, is tried to just steal one of their expensive paintings right in front of them.
Oh
Just
god!
picking it up off the wall to take home.
Quick, descend to camp.
Yeah.
Quick reminder on spells: if I were to cast a spell, do I incur attacks?
Yes.
I have blink.
You could just blink across the space to the downstairs door if you want, and then you will not be required to make a stealth roll. Those making a stealth roll, you are going to get a little threshold bonus here. Is how I'm going to award this from what Troy has done with a sacrifice play.
I have a stealth of 0.
So does Wampy. However, I was going to add Wampy's druidism to basically just quiet the wood underneath us, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's like pass without trace.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
I thought pass without trace was not leaving tracks.
No, it's a magical means of reducing your impact. So it's not just not leaving tracks. It's not leaving sound, and in some cases not leaving sight. It's not invisibility. If you're plainly standing in an open room, you're going to be seen, but it makes it easier for people to not notice that you're there.
In which case, that's what I will do. So my roll for that is... Do I add my scholarship to it if I have advantage, which I do?
Yes. Yeah, that
Okay.
absolutely.
Don't have pips for this particular one because I don't think that
If
this
it's
is quite
druidic too, I would say you could add your exploration to it instead of your scholarship.
I have more scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this one you learned from the frog lessons?
No, I'm improvising this.
Oh, cool. You're rolling for it. All right.
Yeah. I have to roll for this. That's 3.
And what circle was it?
I don't know it in Talus forms. I only know it in D&D.
It would be a second circle if we were going by D&D standards.
I have it in the private tutors and clubs, I'm pretty sure.
Is it? I don't have that listed under a spell I can learn.
Oh, I called it Night Song, but it's
Okay.
yeah, second circle. Basically, it's frogs are familiar with the night, and so the night has a song that can hide your travels. Yeah. So yeah, second circle. You got 3 successes, which means you succeeded in casting it. It's very good. So yeah, I think that pretty much gives everybody enough successes. Or I'm sorry, dice. You're gonna have enough dice that you're probably gonna make it. I think. Yeah, smaller effect, and I think it's 5 extra dice is what I'm gonna say. I'm going off of memory from when I put this together. So everybody make your stealth checks, and then add 5 extra dice to that check.
Would it just be agility?
Yeah, if your stealth is 0, then you're adding 0 to your agility, and then adding 5 to that number, and then rolling that number.
And also, we have 2 pips.
Yeah, yep.
As halflings, yep.
Which I needed.
What did we need to
Okay,
clear?
cool. Kristen, you're going to need to donate to... Francis is going to need to donate to Trompy one of those successes, but other than that, everybody made it.
Awesome.
All right, and you all sneak across and enter the basement. Troy, you now have the full attention of both the maid and the smith, who says, "What are you doing?" And she turns to you, Reggie, and says, "You're going to need to have your bodyguard wait outside. I can't have this behavior in my house."
Reggie looks over and says, "I have no idea who this person is."
Crystalzar, you're about to get kicked out of this house. Are you going quietly? Are you really completely disavowing Crystalzar?
It seems expedient at the time.
Okay.
I mean, if he does, I don't think I can honestly fight it.
If you do that, then the smith does turn to you and says, "Why did you let him come with you then? You guys arrived together. Well, what is this?"
I'm like, I'm a child. We're all children. People just follow you around sometimes, you know? I mean, we're all children. I mean, maybe just give them maybe they need another cup of tea. I think for a moment I say, actually, maybe the tea was a bad thing. Maybe it's the caffeine. Maybe that was a bad idea. Maybe they need some milk or something.
All right, make a persuasion check. Okay. Crystalzar, Reggie's suggestion that maybe you just need some milk to calm down will work if you can explain who you are and why you're here. Like if this child doesn't know you, why are you following him around?
God, like everything I can think of ends up being performance, and I want to stop rolling performance.
Is it performance if you just straight up lie?
I mean, you can tell the truth and say that we're both in the same orphanage.
It's only performance if you're trying to like act like a certain way. If you're just straight lying, that's generally persuasion. And telling the truth may not require a roll, and if it does, that roll would probably be propriety.
Yeah, these are none of my strengths. Also, saying we come from the same orphanage wouldn't really work if you're like, I have no idea who this kid is.
Yeah, they don't know how big the orphanage is.
It's a big orphanage.
Just falling back to that.
Meanwhile, downstairs, the triplets arrive in the workshop.
So this isn't going to be in a very obvious spot. We're going to probably have to find a hiding spot.
All right, my time has come to shine.
What was that?
My time to shine has come.
It has.
I'm going to spend a character point on getting the second level of plunder.
Oh, shit. I love plunder. That's such a good talent.
How do I spend that? Do I just burn it?
Yeah, you burn it.
Let me know how that goes.
Okay, so, you're looting the scene of any non-hidden items that are of value.
Isn't
And-
plunder anything that's hidden?
It's non-hidden.
Non-hidden.
Any valuable items that are non-hidden, you just have.
What's the one that's like you find everything, even hidden items? Is that not a thing?
Treasure Hunter, when using plunder, you may spend an additional investigation to guarantee you get everything valuable, even hidden items.
Ooh. I might spend another character point to make sure that happens.
Leave nothing behind. If you used plunder to take items from a scene and later find out you missed something important, you may spend one investigation and one crime to explain why you totally would have taken that item and have it anyway.
So, I have some character points I can burn.
Okay?
What's the... Okay, so the second one, leave nothing behind, is like after the fact I can spend it, whereas
Right.
Treasure Hunter
That
is
lets
like,
you
I just do it
retroactively,
now.
like, next session, you're like, oh no, I totally would have gotten that if it was there. And then it
Yeah.
magically it has always been there. And you're
But in this case, is Treasure Hunter just like it's a
Treasure
present
Hunter,
action that I can do?
yeah. Treasure Hunter is it's when using plunder, it also gets the hidden stuff.
I would like to spend a character point on getting Treasure Hunter one.
Just remember, not all important things are valuable.
That is true. Today, though, you're definitely finding the thing because there is a high value to this item.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine. The goal of nothing left behind is like you left the letter. that proves the guy's guilt or something, right? Like,
Right.
not a valuable item, you're not going to get that with treasure hunt.
Ah, smart.
All right, so you spent the character point to trigger plunder, and then spend another one to also get treasure hunter. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. This is an awesome combo. So, you get a little bit of money. There is some money down here. You're not entirely sure why there's money down here. Like, maybe it was just forgotten or something. That's not important. There's some valuable tools here. The smaller ones just go into your bag. You can opt to not steal things if you don't want to get caught. But here's the kicker. When you start pulling up the floorboards and looking at the secret stashes, you find that there is... it's not so secret where the good metal is. It's an obvious... the rug comes up, and then there's a handle, and you pull up this big vertical drawer that has high value rare metals. There's some mithril and stuff. You can take those ingots if you want, but no, the more interesting floorboards on the other side of the room, it doesn't have a handle, doesn't have anything obvious. It's with a little knock of your foot in just the right corner, and up it flips, and underneath it is an ornate wooden box. And inside this box are several what look like porcupine quills.
Oh shit. Drogas.
There's also an elaborate smoking pipe that's in a separate compartment of that case. And yeah, I know you immediately know what this means. I'm not sure what your characters know about the drug quill, but if they do know anything, you now know immediately that she is a quill addict.
Francis has a pretty decent amount of medicine knowledge. I mean, he's top tier medicine. And so maybe he would know that.
Francis would probably, zero in on that, and immediately know, this is a really dangerous, highly addictive drug, popular among craftsmen because it makes you incredibly focused. It's like
Adderall.
It's like super Adderall. But it's also supremely addictive, and the side effects of coming off of it are kind of horrible. So it is outlawed in Celebre for several reasons, not the least of which is that addiction to something this potent can potentially subjugate your loyalties and make you loyal to someone other than king and country.
Interesting. Does this make it so that she's not trustworthy?
It's possible she is more loyal to her dealer than to anything else. And that, if her dealer is the Blade Breakers, that would be a serious thing. Now, you guys have the camera, so you can record it and put it back, or you can take it with you as evidence, denying her fix. And if you do that, then you can be certain that as soon as she knows it's gone, she's going to go try to get a refill, which would give you an opportunity to record her deal with the Blade Breakers.
That's my initial instinct is to.
Follow her.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Agreed.
Maybe we should leave the tools and stuff behind because that kind of that kind of incriminates everybody upstairs. We'd get away with it. Everybody else wouldn't.
Oh, you mean stealing that because they'll think that the people upstairs took it?
Well, they'll think that they were part of a team. They just wouldn't know the rest of the team.
Yeah. And I mean, unless we really wanted or needed that stuff, I feel like we could leave that and just take the quills, knowing that that's the real thing that we're here for.
In that way, like, help somebody stole my illegal drugs is not something you run to the Crimson Guard with.
Indeed.
Except in Florida.
And she might just be so like, her drugs are gone, like, and just focus on that if the tools aren't also gone. But if the tools are gone, then she might, that might tip her off.
Yeah.
Why are we robbing this lady?
I mean, like, my whole thing is, like, we take everything worthy of investigation. That's my use of plunder is not specifically for thievery, but more so for, like, evidence gathering,
Okay.
Yeah, the point was never to steal from this lady. The point was to figure out what her connection to the Blade Breakers was and why they would have enough of a hold on her to use her for money laundering.
But because of the method we did it, we have the option to steal from her. Which I think we're going to choose not to do. I think we do want to record them in their hiding spot in the forge before we take them. Because we're really confiscating them on behalf of...
Yeah. Agreed. We got to take our crime scene photos.
All right, you get your crime scene photos. Are you going to leave the box empty, or are you going to take the entire box?
It's just filled with quills?
Quills and her pipe.
Yeah.
We can leave the pipe.
Is the pipe for smoking quills? I don't know. How does that work?
Yes. I'm pretty sure.
Is it possible to just take just the quills safely? Like, can I wrap them in something or whatever, some cloth or something like that?
Yep, as long as you don't grind them into a powder and smoke them, you will not suffer any ill effects.
That's what I'd prefer to do. Just because then it's like less obvious.
She just, Oh, when I was high, I must have gone through a lot more than I thought I did.
Exactly. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, she'll just like think, oh shit, I really went through that quickly.
And the addiction level is such that if she's not getting her fix, she's going to need to get her fix. She's going to feel compelled to just go immediately to her dealer and re-up. All right, so you package up the quills, you leave the box and the pipe, you leave the tools, the gold, and the precious metals, but you have these quills. I need to randomize a number real quick, and it's not going to be with D10s. Oh, 10 exactly. You get 10 quills of quill.
Francis can hold on to those if you guys like. With his medicinal knowledge, he knows how to like avoid, I don't know, contaminating it or whatever.
An important thing to note is that you do not want to get caught with them. You may be able to talk your way out of it if you take them immediately to the Crimson Justicar. But yeah, if you're continuing your investigation here, which you should, because that's the better option is to find out who her dealer is, then yeah. All right. So you guys basically skedaddle out of the basement. Not going to make you roll for that, because what's going on upstairs is madness. What is it that you're doing, Troy? How are you resolving the situation?
mean, that painted me in a corner. Not that I'm upset about it. It's hard to talk myself out of this, and I don't have any of the skills to do it. So let me recap where I'm at, right? Like, no one knows who I am, and I just try to steal something.
You wandered in pretending to be a bodyguard for Reggie. Reggie has disavowed knowing who you are or why you're there, says, I'm just a kid, sometimes people follow me. You tried to steal a painting, and Reggie suggested that maybe it was because they gave you tea and the caffeine has made you hyperactive, and maybe you just need a glass of warm milk. What is your response to that? And Tice apparently has an idea.
I mean, the only thing I can say at this point, I guess, is that, well, I guess I set the painting down either way if I'm still holding it, delicately.
The maid takes it from you, yeah.
I mean, they can't prove you were trying to steal the painting. You just have grabby fingers. You're a child.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm sorry. That looked really nice. No, I mean, I don't. I see kids walking around all the time, and I'm a kid, and they were headed here, and I just kind of followed. It just seemed like something fun to do.
Reggie says, "Oh, are you an orphan from the orphanage?" And I look back and say, "I'm an orphan, obviously. I mean, my parents were in the mining cooperative." I say, and I give puppy dog eyes.
All right, you've earned a bit of sympathy. She gets you some more milk, and escorts all of you out of there. Tice, what was your idea?
Oh, my total idea is while everyone wasn't looking, I was going to polymorph Chrysalazar into a chicken and cause a giant chicken chase.
Well, they're all looking right at him, so I don't think that would have been.
Yeah, there's no point in which I wasn't the center of attention. Just to be fair,
would have been a little bit harder for you to catch.
Which is exactly what we wanted.
All right, so as she leads you, the three of you out the front door, the rest of you guys get up to the window, use the rope to get down. Francis, you come down with the rope using your boots, which are still sticky, and you all meet up. The next step will be tailing her. She goes right back down to her workshop right away, continues hammering, and then after a moment, you see her come out in a very different outfit. She's taken off her work clothes and is in one of those like cloaks that people think make them look inconspicuous, but really, like, when it's the middle of the day, it's just the most obvious thing in the world that they're trying to hide their identity, you know? It's like everybody else is out with like nice sun hats, enjoying the afternoon, and there's this one person with like a hood that's down over their eyes, like keeping their head down, trying to like walk inconspicuous with hunched shoulders.
It's like a sunny day. It's like, why are you wearing a cloak?
Bright sunny day. If it was modern times, it'd be like a baseball cap and sunglasses and a big coat with the hood up. And it's like, that looks really uncomfortable. I'm sorry.
While she was still down in her shop, I think maybe that would have been a good opportunity for us to chat about what to do with the quills if we were concerned about having them with us. Okay. So I feel like there's an opportunity here to split up and have someone return the quills somewhere, I guess turn them into the police or whatever. Unless we're not that concerned about it, and then we can just do it later.
Whoppy's not concerned about it. We're
I'm
not
not-
going to get strip searched.
I'm not sure whether quill's illegal in
It's
Celebre.
super illegal.
It-
Isn't
it's
it? Didn't we
it's
just talk
illegal
about
to
it?
it's illegal to sell for sure. I'm not sure if possession is illegal unless she's got a lot of it.
Possession implies sale. This is a merchant town.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, there's no. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. I'm just not too concerned that we're going to get searched for it anytime soon. I think that even if we are, we have discovered it as part of an ongoing Crimson Guard investigation that we are contracted to help with.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, it's like evidence.
Yeah. If we have a better box for it to just make it look like an evidence box, we can even put a box to write evidence on it or something.
Cool. Okay. That sounds good. I just wanted to check in to see if we wanted to do that before we headed out. But I think that we could probably convince people that it's evidence.
Unless you want to keep it for yourself.
Or we just all divvy it up. Let's all do some quill and go track this lady down. All right. Just kidding. I suppose we should start tailing her.
Yep. Tailing her is either an exploration or a survival check.
Alright. So, I guess this is a decent time to reveal it. Whoppy's second wild shape is a falcon. I would like Whoppy to turn into a falcon and follow her as a falcon. From above, where a
Alright.
bird over top of you is not going to be suspicious.
So, tailing her is not a check. You guys tail her.
Hell yeah.
That takes care of that. Yeah, with a falcon's vision, you never lose sight of her. You track her all the way into the slums and into a place that you guys, from your, like, you've been researching the Blade Breakers for like a couple weeks. You guys know where all their stuff is. She's going right to a Blade Breakers place, like one of their holdings. Yeah, at this address, it looks like she's going into a building. You guys meet up outside the building. What do you want to do? You've got your camera. All you got to do is record the transaction.
Yeah. Do we need to go into invisible?
That would probably be a really good idea. These guys will attack you. They will literally try to kill children if they see you in there. This might be a situation where not all of you want to go in.
Does anyone want to come in with me?
Regardless, I can try to do stable meta aether to help with any casting.
Good call.
So is it always just a one die roll? Right, it's just one die, or do you roll based on your potential?
Yeah, so you roll based on your potential. You need one success. And if you get at least one success, then you tax by one and give an extra die to whoever's doing the casting.
Who's doing casting right now?
I think Elros is going to cast invisibility on himself, and then potentially can use the elf hands move to make it the effect two other people.
I also can do stable meta aether whenever, right? Because I can stock it and then give it to someone later. Like, it's not like a immediate cast.
The aether blocks kind of float in the air where you cast them for the person to use.
This is indoors, right?
She has gone indoors. Yes, they're not doing the sale out in the open in the middle of the day. But
I
this
just
is a
wasn't sure
Blade
if this was
Breakers
like some
hideout.
back alley like sale, like where it might not have been so open, but no, it's indoors. Okay.
But the good news is it's in a Blade Breakers hideout, like at one of their known properties. Um, yeah. So if you can get this recording, then you have the Blade Breakers as Quill Dealers dead rights.
Yeah. Uh,
All right. You've generated some stable meta aether for a caster in your party to use.
Would it help to do that again? I could also help with the stable meta aether.
Yep. Big team effort. There you go. 2 pieces of stable meta aether.
Or I think 3 in total.
No, it's a test to see if you pass, and you pass with 1 success.
Yeah, so it's just
I
the
see.
first circle you get a one.
I see. Yes. Got it. Cool.
But so yeah, there's two dice added to when Tice needs to, if Tice does a invisibility, or if anybody else wants to do magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at casting a greater invisibility.
Ooh. Okay. What circle is that?
It's 4th circle. Well, it's 4th level in D&D.
Oh yeah, fourth circle. That makes sense. And you just recently got your 4th potential point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You need 4 successes, but you've got 2 stable meta aether that are going to bonus this. Are you
Also
doing
have
this
my
to
staff
just
as well.
yourself?
If anyone want 2 people want to hold my hands while I do this.
question, Dave. Could Wappy just decide that Wappy is invisible now
Yes.
via solipsism? Wappy is not going to take your hand, but Wappy is going to do that.
Now, the crazy thing about the version of the spell that Tice is doing is if this works, the 2 people that you grab will be able to attack, cast spells, and it won't break the invisibility. For example, you could cast this spell on Francis, and Francis could use Blink to get inside. And that Blink would not reveal Francis on arrival.
Yeah.
Ah.
So if I hold Francis's hand, does anyone else want to do?
I don't know how I can help. I don't have any kind of magic abilities as Trumpy.
Well, I think you won't necessarily need magic, so this will make you invisible, and then if you go inside, whatever abilities you have, you might be able to help there. Which I guess is our goal when we get in there, like to record evidence.
To record the drug sale.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
just
So basically, we just need one person to successfully get in there with the recording device and then get that on tape.
Yeah, get that on tape and get out alive.
Yeah, so if Chompy is going to find a way to turn themselves invisible, I'm going to grab the other 2 twins and we'll make sure all 3 are invisible and they can do their trio as greater invisible.
Cool. And
Sounds
then yeah, you've got your Chrysalizar and Reggie outside in case things go bad. One can fight and the other can talk. That's a good backup plan.
Yeah, so 2 extra dice, right?
2 extra dice. You need 4 successes or the spell fizzles. That is not enough successes.
Right. And Wappy to just decide to be invisible.
I believe if it's a standard invisibility, it's only 2 successes, I think, right?
Yeah. All right.
All right. So Wampy goes invisible, and the other 3 do not.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the battery and stuff does. Well, that's only for paying the cost, right?
Correct.
So I can't spend it right now to.
It doesn't generate additional successes, no. Well, Wompy, you're invisible.
All right.
Do you want to take the camera?
Yeah. I
All
think
right.
Wappy's actually been holding the camera this whole time, so.
Mm-hmm.
What's your plan to get inside?
All right.
Building is a single-story warehouse kind of thing, but the room you're going into is an office room on one of the sides, accessed by a back alley.
Is there anyone in the back alley?
Currently, the 6 of you.
Okay. There's no like open windows that I can see or anything.
There are. They're not open, but there are windows. Yes.
My pass without trace from earlier doesn't still hold, so like
It has
I
worn
would
off,
still make noise. Plus, I think I cast different.
You
additional
have been
spells.
a bird in the sky since then. It's
Yeah.
lost its ability to hide you. Doesn't mean you can't
Um,
cast it again if you can pay the tax.
I can pay the tax on Druidism to cast that again. Uh, just make sure, yeah, because I've only paid one tax. I have a weird question. Does my gift for sneaking apply to this sort of thing? Because it
Yeah.
is a sneaking spell, but I'm not entirely sneaky. I'm casting a spell on myself. A second spell.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that kind of doesn't apply to... Like, it'll definitely apply when you're making your stealth roll to sneak in. You're already invisible, so you've got, like, huge bonuses to that.
I got the spell off anyway.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm just going to slip open a window just enough for a halfling slip through. And basically kind of just try and sit at the windowsill and record if I can.
Alright, make a stealth roll. This is to see if they notice the window opening.
So I get 5 dice plus my agility.
And you want to beat a 3. Hey, there you go. Alright. You slip inside and start recording. The transaction, I don't know how familiar Wompy is with drug transactions, but the transaction happens. You record it. You're invisible, so you can get in pretty close. Full audio, full video. You get a 3D hologram recorded into this device of this woman buying drugs from the Blade Breakers. This is going to ruin this woman's career, for sure. It's also going to give the Crimson Guard everything they need to perform a legal raid on the entire Blade Breakers operation. They're dealing Quill. That's serious. The hammer's coming down on them. And you make it out again. Because you're invisible now, so yeah.
Yeah. My backup plan if things went wrong was to leave that window open so I could fly out, but yeah.
Quiltio starts, yes. So now the big question is, when you turn in this evidence, which I presume you're going to go do right away, how much of the quill do you turn into the bag? Or do you keep any of it? And Francis would know from medicine that what Quill does is Quill makes you incredibly focused, an amazing crafter, an amazing researcher. Your mind, your focus, basically, you get an extra 5 points to your focus. It's like your focus is whatever it's at plus 5. If your focus is already at 5, you have a focus of 10. You roll so many dice on focus checks for whatever you're focusing on, be it crafting, be it scholarship, whatever. Then you crash. There are consequences to that. Now, if you got more quill, it's not a big deal. Or if you just suffer a week of having terrible focus, you're good. If you're caught with it, you're in trouble. Do you want to keep any of it?
So I think Francis is not interested in keeping any of it, just seeing how strung out that lady was. He doesn't really want to get in that position, but he's not against if like anyone in the group wanted to keep any. So he'll just be like, I'm not taking any, but if you guys want any, now's your chance.
There's 10 doses, and you need to get a little bit of paraphernalia to make use of them, because you have to be able to crush it into the powder and then smoke the powder. You'd also have to probably find a way to hide it from Miss Mabel and everybody.
Well, people also say it would probably need more at some point.
One of the fundamental problems of drug addiction, yes.
Whoppy thinks keeping any is a bad idea.
You just do it. You just do it once. It's fine if you just do it once.
Yeah. Just try it out.
Yeah, it's not like we've never had a drug trip here before.
Yeah, ironically, Francis does play as Madala, but he also is a kid and doesn't want to mess with something that looks dangerous.
I imagine coming down here is quite scary as well.
What's Reggie's take on it?
I mean, Reggie wants nothing to do with it. It's a liability, and there's no reason to have it.
Sounds to me like everybody agrees then you give all 10 quills to the Crimson Justicar. Is that correct?
Yep.
Cool.
I'm good.
This is going to be an excellent case for our resume for the Triplets Investigation Agency.
Yep.
It is.
Trumpy was very tempted to keep one, given that they're the studious triplet, and making studying easier sounded really attractive, but also he thought about how fucked up that lady was too.
It's a
Just
choice.
say no, kids.
Say no, kids.
Whoppy would like put an arm around Trumpy and say, "You're good enough without it."
Aww.
Alrighty. Yeah, so the Justicar is extremely pleased to hear back from you, and this is an amazing result. This absolutely 100% solidifies the what did you call your agency?
Ripped.
Three halflings in a trench coat?
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I can't remember actually what the official name was, but maybe we'll have to come up with one.
I think that was the first shot. So if you want to change it, but come on.
Yeah.
So, original was making a joke about that. Was that there was that movie, the R.I.P.D., because you have like a dead person and talking to people.
We already have the business cards drawn up, so I think we're...
You got at least one backer.
Alrighty. Good job. Congratulations. You return home to accolades. And, well done. We did that one in record time. I guess it helps that, like, a lot of the legwork on that would have gone into that adventure was done as part of other adventures. So you didn't need to research like who the Blade Breakers were or anything. You already had a really good foundation for what was going on over there. Didn't get caught up in any of the red herrings because you'd already investigated Nantar and all that. Yeah. That's going to be the collapse of the Blade Breakers. And you managed to do it primarily without actually confronting any of the Blade Breakers' own organization. You did it externally, which means you didn't put yourselves in physical risk, except right at the end there. But you had a shitload of magic backing you up, so that was good. Well played.
No violence necessary.
Mm-hmm.
No violence necessary. So, next week we will begin that final investigation, and then after that final investigation, there's going to be a day where all the kids can go to school to spend their experience points one last time, and then we're gonna, that's gonna roll into the storyline's climax, I guess you'd call it. Did anyone else want to do anything before we stop? We're done early tonight, so got some extra time.
I realized after the fact, so Henri, he was going to learn one of the spells from Anui, but that I believe means he'll need a spell book, right?
If he's gonna learn the spell through the methods of what's it called? Hold on.
Liturgical?
No, if he's gonna learn it liturgically, he does not need a spell book. He just needs 3 character points, and the spell is his to know and cast whenever he wants.
Oh fuck yeah! Okay.
If he wants to learn it through a spell book, he needs the to have esoteric education, I think.
Awesome. So you can actually go straight to talent without needing to like put it in your spell book.
Correct.
Does that apply for everything or just for Henri's Inui stuff?
I know that applies for all spells, but it gets just crazy expensive.
Yeah, like 3 character points per spell versus getting one book that has 6 spells you can put in it. But you don't have to roll for the spell anymore, right? You're just
right. They become more reliable. And you don't have to worry about like whether or not you've got your book with you. It's something you just know how to do. For example, Wampi's shapeshifting. That is technically a polymorph spell, but Wampi can just do that whenever. In the case of Wampi's shapeshifting, it doesn't even require being taxed, although most spells would have a tax associated with them.
Is there any reason to do both, like to have it in the spellbook and the talent?
Yes, and Delterra does that. So there are talents that sort of interact with and synergize with both methods. Also, like, let's say, for example, your character is captured and imprisoned and doesn't have access to their spellbook. If all you have are the spells in your spellbook, you're kind of screwed. But if you have a couple spells that you just know from rote casting, then you have something to work with to try and fight your way back to getting your spellbook. Additionally, improvisation, although you've got to roll for it, like having a little bit of improvisational talent is really good, because then in a worst case scenario where everything else has failed, at least you can try and improvise something to deal with it.
Is that a talent?
Yes. Where are they? It's in the skills and talents under potential talents under esoteric potential.
I see.
It's what Avatala used basically the entire heist.
Yeah. It helps a lot if you're going to do improvisational to have a really high potential, because you're going to be rolling for your spells instead of just casting them.
Yeah. That makes sense. And sorry, I get why it's a good idea to get the talent liturgically, but why would I also want to get the spell? Because basically Henri doesn't have a spell book, and I'm like, should he get a spell book, or should I just go pure talent?
So the advantage of doing things with spell books is you only have to buy one talent, which is esoteric education, and then you can fill your book with as many spells as you want, and those spells are all available to you. The downside is you are rolling for them as though you're doing an improvisation, but you're doing it without having to buy improvisation and deal with like the damage it can deal to you. Because with improvisation, you can hurt yourself if you fail the roll. With education, you at least like you cast it from your book, you're fine. But education then rolls into memorization, which lets you start prepping spells as though they were talents, right? It functions as though they're talents, but you're paying less for them and you have the flexibility to reconfigure them, which is nice. You do still completely lose access to them if you lose your spellbook, which is not great, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's cheaper, which is nice. Is one of the biggest benefits. You can get more spells.
You can get more spells for overall cheaper, and there's a little bit of flexibility to them. That you do still have to invest further into them to make them as reliable and stable as if you just get them liturgically. So what's happening like mechanically in terms of the physics of the world, right? So in order to cast a spell, you have to have your mind go through a specific sequence of emotional states that vibrate in ways that excite the elements of the universe in the specific patterns you need to bring about a supernatural effect. You're basically hacking the source code of the universe to trigger one of the things it would naturally do at some point anyway, but you're triggering it out of sequence. So when wood lights on fire, right, it's normal. This is a normal thing. Fire aether comes out of the aether, enters reality where the wood is to produce the flame that burns the wood. And the aether is always sitting there ready with the most likely possible aethers that are needed, as it has a little bit of future sense as it gets ready for the possibilities that are going to happen. But the aether and the astral don't like each other. They won't coexist. So anything that wobbles one creates open spaces the other can wobble into. And when you think with certain emotions, it creates certain frequencies of wobble. And if those frequencies match up with frequencies of fire or air or lightning or whatever you've got, you can get these effects gathered up. And if you do a very complicated sequence of these and wave your hands around to put them in different places in the air around you, you can build a box, fill the box with fire aether, compress the box, push the box at an enemy, and when the box arrives, it forces the fire aether into reality ahead of time. Even though there is no wood, there is no forest fire, the effect the universe has ready for a forest fire triggers in a big 20-foot radius explosion around your enemy, thus burning them to bits. Right? That is the fireball. And so what you can do is you can either spend a long time just practicing that one spell until you know how to do it by rote. You know how to put your head into that headspace to get that rapid series of emotions that vibrates the universe into creating that spell. Or you can take some notes, write it down in a book. And when you need to cast a spell, you go check your notes and you're like, okay, and I've got these symbols that represent the emotions I'm supposed to think of, and I go through the sequence of symbols, and I've got some little footnotes that tell me how to wave my hands, and I do it that way. Or, and here's the coolest one, which is memorization. You open up your book in the morning, and you build into your own body an almost ready to cast spell that's just missing the last couple symbols. And you just set it up in your body so that it's ready to go, and when you're ready, you just trigger those last couple symbols, and it's already set. The packet is already ready to go, and it launches. That's memorization, and that is it's an awesome talent. There are limits based on how much your body can withstand, but yeah, that's how that gets set up.
Yeah, I'm very interested in trying that out. I got esoteric memorization for Zara.
Yeah, esoteric memorization is really cool. It lets you load up a combination of spells that you can reconfigure every morning, so you can try and anticipate what your needs for the day will be, and then there's spells you don't have to roll for. You just prep them from your spell book in the morning, have them ready to go throughout the day. Yeah, it's good stuff.
So one more thing. I am for Henri, I'm planning to go the liturgical route and buy the talents. Is it cheating to go like for a high circle spell? Like, because basically you could just get any spell you want.
Any spell you want. The difference is that you need to be able to pay the tax. So if you're going to cast a fourth circle spell, you need to have a at least 4 tax that you can pay in your potential.
Ooh, yes. Okay.
So
cool.
Henri's going to need to get some Eldritch Inui potential to use. But once Henri is at 4 potential and has that fourth circle spell, it's ready to go.
That makes sense. Cool. Yep. I thought it would be like way too OP to be able to do that right away. Okay, cool.
We're there's going to be a rules rewrite that Ed's been working on. That's going to change a few things, but it's going to make it possible. So, obviously, we have been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3 lately, which has given us a lot of exposure to the 5e rule set. And one of the things in Ed's new rules that I really like is there's going to be things that let you cast low-level spells at higher levels for greater effects. That's something that our system has been lacking, and I really like that will be coming. So,
ooh,
yeah,
I like that. Yeah, so you could have like a second circle, but then like eventually be able to cast like a 4 circle version of that.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really fun.
We had a couple of those because we did treat Magic Missile that way.
We did treat Magic Missile that way for a bit. We had some other things where like we were like improvising more powerful versions.
Yeah, it was just the concept was like, I feel like in the powers math we had done something like the level binding, and so you had it was like you have X successes or X dice up to max level, right? We had that restriction, and so we had like kind of hacked that concept into spells to say like you could do this, but you could only go up to level 5, so it made your spell technically cheaper, but it also made it bound, so now it's not that strong anymore.
Yeah, we had to pre-write that into the individual spells on a spell by spell basis. Well, yeah, we'll see how the new system works out. I like it. I think the new system's really cool. It's not. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm most of the way through with the core, but this is a revision to core fluid. That's gonna have effects in Talus. It's the first major revision to core that I've ever done since we released it, so it's a pretty big change. But it's expanding some stuff and cleaning up some things that are, I guess, house rules, but not house rules. Kind of that we've just kind of. So one of the major things, I guess, that's important to note is that Fluid doesn't specify anywhere, and actually, in a lot of cases, it's just kind of assumed that you can activate as many talents as you can pay for each turn, right? So, like, if you have a bunch of spells, there is technically nothing preventing you from just activating all of them if you can pay for them, right? That's a problem, right? So we're like, we have kind of just a rational rule that we all think, where it's just like, I can't cast infinite fireballs on turn 1, so that's going to go in there.
Which is funny because we had dual hand casting, which was
as a talent,
which allow you to cast 2 spells at a time, but we never had a rule that said you couldn't.
Correct. Yeah. So there's a couple of weird things, And then it's simplifying the way that talents work in general, and also unifying across spells. So an example would be, I can get into it, but basically, okay, and this is slightly different to what we talked about, Dave, after going through and doing some revision, but it's the same spirit.
Okay.
So there's a new type of facet. Facets we already have. I'm giving names to things that we already have, right? So some facets, like most of the ones that you use, bigger and stuff, are dice facets. They're normal facets. They do the thing that facets know and love do. There are special facets like resist. Resist is a special facet. It does successes. So I'm just giving a name to that, right? There are some facets like health that you can't roll. So the name for those is they're called funds, and they're specifically for observing tax, right? They kind of replace potentials. Potentials are a kind of fund, right? That's changing a bit. That is neither here nor there. The bigger change is that there's another type of facet called a suit. Suits are expensive to increase, but basically suits are what you use to acquire talents. An example might be that you have a suit like, and there are not very many suits. There's suits like memory or discipline, or something like this. And effectively, you acquire suits, and then talents are cards in a deck of things. So a talent can require. You learn a talent, you get talents can require different suits, right? Depending on the talent, and some talents have multiple suits. So as an example, like something like Speak with Dead. You can get Speak with Dead in one suit, which requires medicine skill. You can also get Speak with Dead in a different suit, which requires Arcana skill, right? They have slightly different effects, and they're basically different talents based on how you acquire them. The upshot of this is that talents are pretty flexible now. So if you want to... if you have enough slots basically in your deck, enough like in your suits basically to put them in, you can just slot in the talents that you want, and they don't cost anything. So talents are functionally free as long as you have space for them in your deck. They're not narratively free. You still need to find a trainer or something, but you can kind of slot them in and out as you need. They just take a long time to put into your deck basically. So discarding them is not generally advised, but if you're like, I don't know, a priest and you lose your faith and decide to do something else, you're totally free to just discard all your talents and start over. That's fine. Memorization gives you benefits to being able to slot talents dynamically, so you can do it to change out your loadout basically at the cost of when you use one of your memorized spells, it's discarded, right? If you go the liturgic way, you acquire it. It's a little bit more expensive to slot, but it stays until you can still discard it, but you can't just put it back, right?
This is a nice little preview. Obviously, we're gonna finish off this current adventure with the rules we've been using, but I'm really excited for as we go into the next adventure to use these new rules. This looks really cool.
Yeah, but the basic idea is, you've got a deck of talents that's got some limitations how many being put in it, and then you've got facets, and when you use your talents, they spend dice on your facets. That's pretty much it. Like there's no other extra crap to it. It's just straightforward. And most of the D&D 5e spells I'm going to adopt, but most of them will not only be arcane, and in some cases they may not even benefit from like magical skills, right? So like Pass Without Trace will exist. It may be magical, but you can probably also get it through stealth. Most of the weird psychic type spells you can probably, like fear and that sort of thing, you can get through persuasion. They're not fundamentally magical powers, though you can get them. You can learn them in a supernatural way, I suppose.
A high enough acrobatics can take the place of Misty Step, for example.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, like Part of the thing that I have to do is rebalance all the talents, because like Misty Step is a useful spell. It shouldn't be super simple. It should be slightly more expensive. Being able to reposition yourself anywhere on the battlefield is kind of super useful. And as a wizard, you're going to cast stuff. But in Talus, or at least in Core Fluid, if you take a spell like Misty Step, you are gimping yourself, because you could just take reposition and it's way, way better and cheaper. Most of
Most of the characters that have that ability have gotten it through reposition and have been melee fighters on Talus.
Correct. Yeah. So it's like, so it makes sense to have them kind of be a little bit more flexible.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you, everybody.
Before you do, I had a question. I was waiting for an opportunity.
Sure.
Do we get a reward for this investigation work? Like, is there like a system set up for giving them information for a reward?
Ooh, yeah. Shouldn't
Because we are a
agency get
detective
paid?
agency, something's got to pay us.
Yeah.
100%. You should get paid for this. So let's have somebody make a trade roll, and we'll say however many successes you get, that'll be the number of coins that each of you gets. So pick your best negotiator.
Help us, Reggie. Who's got trade?
That's gotta be Reggie, right?
I've got okay trade.
And you can add your
Not
Orphic
zero.
potential to the roll.
Oh, okay.
Meow.
This definitely makes Reggie like the CFO of our agency.
There we go.
Oh yeah, we hired a great CFO.
All right, everybody add 5 valuable coins to your inventory. Good job.
I paid for dinner yesterday and more.
One might hope you wouldn't be eating at a restaurant that expensive every day, but yeah, good day's work.
Francis is like ridiculously rich. I guess it must have been from the heist primarily, but
Yeah.
What do you got?
9 precious gems, 25 valuable coins, and 4 pocket money.
That's pretty good. I've got no pocket money, but I've got 28 valuable coins and 10 precious gems.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Trumpy's coffers are looking pretty good as well.
You could go like replace your spell books with like really high quality ones and just load up on spells. That's one use of that money. Also, you can buy like you might actually be able to hire somebody to make you a magic staff to get battery on an item.
Yeah, that's what Elros does.
Whoppy might want to do that.
You said, what was it? The frozen zone is like there's a lot of real estate there that could be bought up, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, that's true. If somebody's got a lot of money and some good connections and wants to buy you guys a nice office, that'd be a good use of your money too.
Whoppy has it too in connections.
Yeah, if we have an office, can we then assume we have like a higher recurring income basically from our ongoing investigations?
Yeah, I'm going to handle a lot of those in a sort of an afterwards final session where we go over where these characters go from here. But yeah, I'm thinking in terms of like things that might help you out in the immediate short term for the next more serious, more immediate adventures would be like magic staves. Magic items in general. I mean, you saw how useful the boots thing was, right? Like, you got that just a couple sessions ago.
Yeah, I definitely want to get a staff, but I assume that'll be next time. Like Francis he can like choose to do that during his non-mischief time.
Yeah,
What-
sounds good.
I would say that because we ended so early, we might have had time at the end of the day to go shopping.
Sure thing, absolutely.
Because I think Whoppy definitely needs a druid staff.
Cool. There are lots of craftsmen that just have like really nice wood. If you wanted to get a nice piece of wood and turn it into a staff, or you can find there's plenty of craftsmen that know how to make magic things too.
Question: can I have a craftsman take my hammer and mold it into a druidic weapon?
Yes.
I think that's what I would want to do, because I would start off with this hammer and have it be... Can the quality be upgraded as part of that?
Yeah. I'm gonna say yes. The hammer will be used as an ingredient. But
Yeah,
the,
essentially.
yeah.
It would still retain its current properties of...
being very pretty and impressive.
Sorry, I think my internet cut there. Its current property is that it will find its way to Whoppy wherever Whoppy is.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, I would like to do that.
Is that a renown item?
I did spend renown on it. This was before I decided that Whoppy was going down the druidic path.
That adds some different aspects to it, right? Than just like a property. It's like a special property.
Yeah, it's not so much a property of the item as it's a property of the character. The character will always have their hammer, or in this case, their staff, since it's going to be turned into staff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. It's not
like it
necessarily
magically returns to you. It's part of your character sheet. So the random happenstance of fate will always cause you to be able to have it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like
All
Indiana Jones's hat. That's our sort of classic example, right? It's still just a hat. It falls off his head all the time, but he always manages to grab it just in the nick of time.
Yep. As an aside, Dave, this new the deck design actually solves a shitload of problems that I've been annoyed with for a long time. So one of the suits is equipment. So you can wear 3 suits of armor. You just have to have the slots for it, right? Like if you want to use multiple equipment talents.
Okay.
Right now,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, right now the worry is like, I'm just gonna layer a bunch of armor on top of each other, and I'm just gonna act like the Michelin Man and just absorb tax forever. You know?
So, Vivian, if you could go ahead and roll your resources. Or, I'm sorry, you're finding somebody to craft one for you, right?
Yes.
That'd be connections.
And I'm contributing this hammer as an item. Does that count for anything?
The hammer's properties will transfer over,
Okay.
but the
quality doesn't matter.
The quality doesn't matter. The quality is currently a 1, but you can boost that by pouring money into the problem because you're in a very mercantile area.
Well, here's the stuff that we earned from today. All right, that's quality 4. I could go up to quality 8, right?
You can, but the cost from 6 to 8 is double.
Okay.
So you go up to 6 with normal math, and then from 6 to 7 is 2, 7 to 8 is another 2.
Okay, so I'm at 6 from normal math, and I'm going to spend 4 precious gems to get it to
Quality 8, all right. And then are you going to be giving it some properties?
I would like to. Obviously, it still retains it's always going to be Whoppy's. It's going to change from Whoppy's hammer to Whoppy's staff. Right?
Yes.
Uh, I assume that battery is on this
Yes, it is.
list.
Battery is on the table, as is capacitor.
What is capacitor? I don't know that one.
Wait, is it not called capacitor? What's the other one for battery? Sorry, there's two of these. I gotta find them.
Capacitor is the other one.
It is capacitor, okay. There it is, yeah. Okay. So, all right, yeah. So battery has a grade, right? So when you put battery on, it's not just battery, it's battery 1, battery 2, battery 3. When you tax the staff, you can pay for a number of tax on your spell equal to the grade of battery.
Okay. Okay.
Capacitor works differently. Capacitor, when you tax it, it covers an amount of cost equal to the quality of the item. So capacitor starts off giving you big results and slowly shrinks over time. Battery is consistent, but it's expensive to have it give more than one.
And so, is there a way to like recover tax from an item?
You would repair the item.
Basically, just repairing it. Okay. Yep. Okay. And I assume, how many like properties can I add to it? I guess is the thing.
So generally, it's like half the item's quality is the number of properties. So in this case, you'd be able to put 4 properties on this one.
Does that include the quality of the battery here?
Each level of quality is another
Okay.
property. Yeah.
Okay.
So
In which case,
if
it
you
looks
put
like
battery
capacitor-
4, you'd be spending all 4. Yeah.
Okay. So I could do battery 3 and capacitor 5, and that's just done for my staff, right? Oh wait, no. Hang on, sorry. Quality 8. So I can't put capacitor on it because it's half of the quality of the staff. Capacitor's listed as a 5.
I don't think capacitor is it's a quality 5 thing. Yeah, you're right. What do those qualities mean?
It says requirements are quality. If you click on data
I
properties,
think that just means that it can't be put on an item that has less than quality
less
5.
quality.
But this is a
Okay.
quality 8 item. You should be fine.
So I can add capacitor.
Yeah, you can add capacitor, which would take up 1 slot, and because you can't have more than 1 level of capacitor, it's just it's
Right.
either there or not. And then you could put 3 levels of battery on.
Or I could put something else I could always do. I'm taking a look at these right now. I'll figure it out. It'll probably be battery. Yeah, it's going to be battery. All right.
There was once upon a time a potential that that gave you benefits to using battery as well. At least I thought there was.
There's a divine potential. That just
Oh,
lets
that's
your
what it
voice
is.
symbol operate.
Where you can put battery on a mundane object. Yeah. All right.
Well, you just have like some mundane relic just has battery. You don't have to. If you possess it, so it's similar to like the combat ones where it's just like
Oh, no, no.
all axes in your hands are treated as
esoteric focus. That's what I was thinking of. Any such item in your possession is considered renewable. So if you craft items with battery or capacitor, then they are considered renewable, meaning you can use your stamina to recover taxes on the item. So when you rest, you can use your rest to repair the item using your stamina. Yeah, it's esoteric focus. That's what that is. Yeah, that's a talent that lets you recharge your battery without having to go back to the shop.
Well, that's an actually I'll save up for.
Yeah, that sounds super useful. Could we assume that Francis was following Wampy to the connection that they went to?
Yeah, sure. That connection was not great. It was only quality 1, so you're starting at 1, and then spend your money.
Cool. I only have 1 connection, so I was like, this is just a sure shot than me rolling the dice. But and I figured it made sense narratively. But so what else do I roll to figure out what the quality is?
Money.
Okay, got it. So those rolls.
Coins
I was rolling valuable coins.
Coins are
Got it.
dice. Gems are automatic successes. And pocket change are pips that can turn your failed coins into successes by adding a little bit more to it.
Wonderful. So I can. I'm going to roll it in batches similarly. So I'll just start with 5.
Because I knew I was going to make a quality 8. I was more about what was I going to pay for it.
Is there a reason why you went for 8?
Highest quality I could get.
It is the maximum that this city is capable of producing.
All right, so I'm at 5.
I think
You're
if you
at
have
5 and you
money,
spent
you can
10, yeah.
you could add two pocket money for that.
Oh, throw pocket money in for the pips. Oh, okay, yeah. Good call. Can I do that after the fact? Or maybe not?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I've got 4 pocket money. So that's 1, 2. So I'm at 7. Ooh, 6 is 6 a success?
Yes, 6 is a success.
Okay, in that case, I have enough pocket money to turn the 5, 5, and 4 into successes.
All right, and that puts you at 8 successes. Oh, I'm sorry. That puts you at 7 successes.
Yeah, because they're double, right?
From 6 to 8 is double, yeah.
In that case, yeah. And then a precious gems is a success, right?
Correct.
All right, I'll pay one of those just to stop bleeding valuable coins. Cool. And I'll look at the properties later, but it seems like battery or capacitor are what help me actually use the staff to cast powers, right?
Right.
Yeah. So basically it's choosing one or both of those. And then any other properties.
Yeah, the staff will give you some pips when you're casting spells, just all by itself, but then you can tax the staff to pay for your spells, so you don't have to tax your esoteric potential.
Nice.
That way you'll still have all your dice to roll when you're casting spells.
Love it. I think that was it for Henri.
Cool.
Or sorry, Francis.
And I recommend for like combat characters, get yourself some nice weapons, get yourself some nice armor. It'll come in handy when shit hits the fan and you're making rolls. But we can take care of that next week. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and we'll see you all next time.